Hi guys, Louie here with some thoughts about collectors. And, as I go through my eBay feeds every morning, if you don't know how to do that, you can set up a custom search on eBay for anything you're looking for. And your email box will be populated every morning with those items that fit your criteria. And I have quite a few of these I go through every morning. But as I do it, it begs the question, pardon my cold that I'm getting over, it begs the question of whether collections are a good idea. And I'm not just talking about coin collections. Many of us collect many things, whether it be comic books or classic cars or expensive watches. It's one of those things that people tend to gravitate to because if you have some extra income and you don't want to put it in the bank and you want to have tangible assets, collections can be a way to park some of that money. And of course, the hope is that there will be appreciation over time. And in some areas, there clearly are. If you're a collector of old Nintendo games, for example, congratulations, you made a lot of money. If you're a collector of certain comic books, you may have made a lot of money. You may have lost a lot of money. But I thought I would just go through some of my feeds and let you know what the danger is. Okay, what I'm seeing more and more is the dangers of an aging population and changes in preferences and popularity. I was watching the Macon car auctions yesterday, which I enjoy doing, and fantasizing about the muscle cars that I, will own one day. Maybe not. But it struck me that, wow, the prices were really low. I mean, Camaros and Mustangs and Cadillacs, and I hadn't seen prices so low in quite a long time. Perhaps it was the auction I was looking at. Maybe it was the crappy car auction. But they didn't look crappy. They looked pretty nice. And honestly, had I been there, I would have bought one or two because, that classic Camaro, that classic 67 Mustang, they were on sale. But it strikes me that, taste is changing and demographics are changing and disposable income is possibly changing as well. And as I go through my feeds, I'm going to go through some of these. Again, another video where I guess I'm rambling, but let me get back to the topic. If you collect, what are the dangers, right? All right. And so here we go. As some of you know, I do collect Norfeds, the Norfed Liberty Dollars, and I have a feed up here for Norfeds every morning. I find out what's on the market. I look for rare versions that I could possibly purchase and resell, right? I mean, that's something I do. And sometimes I just add them to the collection. But here's an example of, since the FBI hoard was recently released back to the investors. They had seized all these assets when they busted Bernard. Those were recently released back into the wild, not the wild, but back to the investors, and they're selling them. And a lot of coins here that I paid $30 plus for, you can get quite a bit lower now. The rare coins are still the rare coins, but they've come down in value as well. So there's an example of, limited demand all of a sudden was not limited any longer. The same thing is happening with pre-33 gold, has been happening for some time. I did a video at least a year ago about how a lot of European collectors are returning pre-33 gold to the U.S. markets to sell. And those prices have come down. Because I know some of my pre-33 gold, the double eagles I may have paid $1,500 an ounce for. and the fractionals maybe a little bit more. And you'll see those more and more popping up closer to spot, not at spot, of course, for pre-33, especially in higher uncirculated grades. But there again, the supply-demand dynamic has changed for the worse for collectors. So the deal was you're buying something rare, and now there's more of them on the market. Same thing with the Norfeds here. These are collector cards, bubblegum cards, Topps cards. I don't know if you collect these, but you know, I see some of these coming down as well. I mean, does the current generation, really appreciate a Planet of the Apes, highly rated card, or Garbage Pail Kids, or something of that nature? As you get closer to, things like Batman, I think they do reserve a little higher premium because the superhero genre has been kept alive, I think, by the movie industry more than anything. But another thing, do you have a lot of these cards? I have some of these as well, which, my plan was to put all of these items in a locker, these periodicals, these comics, these cards, highly rare and good examples, don't collect junk, and put them in a locker for my kids, right? And hopefully, someday they'll be on an episode of, how I made millions of dollars because Dad left me a rare comic book. Anyway, that was the fantasy. But as the prices come down and the older collectors seem to be diminishing, may not be a good idea. Let's see, what else do I collect? Yeah, there are some other underground comics that I follow. Original illustration art. I collect original illustration art from underground comics of the 60s. And they're exceedingly rare. There are, I have, actually everything I have in that category is one of a kind. And some of the artists are deceased and some are very old. But only appreciated if there is a collector market sometime in the future. Now, I suppose if you're getting in a time capsule and you're going far past your death, and then you're imagining your family, or could even be your extended family, opening your trunk, could be things come back into fashion. And I think that's kind of what happens with some of those shows on TV. Things, they fall out of fashion, they go into fashion. The guy that's collecting the tin soldiers, or recreating Civil War era dioramas, or the guy collecting farm equipment, or refinery steel, or very, very old cars. I mean, I think that stuff can come back into style, but only if somebody out there is following it and promoting it. And you can watch heritage auctions, for example, or Sotheby's, and they decide what is valuable and what is not valuable by virtue of what they promote. And they can only sell so many things and promote so many things, and at a point where the value starts to dip off and the collectors start to dip off, they're going to switch to something different. So I won't go into the classic cars and whatnot, but that this could definitely be true of collector coins. But I don't know. I'd like to think that the collector coin market and the numismatic coin market is here for the eternity. But after having seen what's happened to collector stamps, honestly, if not for the precious metals content, I don't think there'd be as much interest. But there is a numismatic market. It is alive and well, and it has done well over time. Will it do well over time in the future? I guess that depends if you are sure about the rarity, and you're sure about the collectors. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Please chime in. I noticed some of you selling your muscle cars, other people, collecting like the old days. sometimes a collection is just a way for a person to enjoy their money without blowing it. But what do you collect, and what is the prognosis for the future? Guitars, outstanding choice. Classic guitars, outstanding choice to collect. I don't have nearly enough of those. I wish I had bought more of those and less comic books, right? Do you collect rare watches? Those, are on fire because there's no shortage of yuppies, right? And people want status symbols they can wear on their wrist. They don't really want to drive that 67 Mustang because it's hot and cramped, and if you crash it, you die. But what else do you collect? And feel free to, indicate your collector coins as well, but we're all in that. And we all believe in that. Of course, if you keep it to a small portion of your stack, if your stack is 100% collector coins, then you better be nimble as Jack be quick and don't get burned by that fire. Because you know how that goes, right? I mean, if you're looking to make money in collector coins, it is a dog eat dog. But love to hear your thoughts about your collections, especially non-coin collections. Okay, guys, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I should have some deal links at the end. Bye now.